From the beautiful campus of Casper College, it's the T-Birds Coaches Show, bringing you game breakdowns, expert analysis, and exclusive interviews. Here's your host, Tom Myler.
Hello, T-Bird fans, and welcome to, you guessed it, another fantastic Casper College Coach Show. With us, once again, Coach Tom Parks.
Thank you. I think I figured out where to put my hands finally.
Oh, you did? Right here.
On the table. Because I don't always know what to do with them.
Sometimes I
stand here. Sometimes I go pocket. Mm-hmm. I've done this, and I feel like I probably look mad, but I think this feels right.
As long as we don't bang on the table, because our fans appreciate when they don't hear us rattling so much.
I won't do that.
All right, love it. Just be gentle. You don't have to be so aggressive at times. I guess. I know sometimes my comments will kind of aggravate you, so you don't have to take it out on.
That's
the
all right.
But guess what? We're not going to have any aggravating today, because we should have some good stuff to talk about. We had a win last week with the play-in game, first round of the Region 9 tournament, and now we're going to be going in and playing against Lamar. So let's first talk about Eastern Wyoming that we played. Kind of hit us up with a summary. How'd you feel about it? What'd you see? What were some good aspects?
I mean, I felt good about it. I think, outside of our last regular season game against Eastern Wyoming, which was kind of weird because we had just got our full team back, I feel like the other two games that were normal, Northwest College and this one, I feel like we really did a good job at getting a good start, and I thought we dominated in areas of the game, especially defensively. I thought we were really locked in, and we shared the ball offensively, and that's something. I mean, we had 6 guys in double figures. We had 22 assists. I think anytime we've gotten 20 assists, we've won, which is a high number, but it's an achievable number with the way that we shoot and the way that teams are having to guard Abdul and things like that. So I thought it was a really good team effort on both sides of the floor. And, I think we've kind of been able to create some momentum in a weird time of the season with everything that's happened.
Yes.
And so I'm excited kind of where we're at going into the region tournament.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring this up because that's what I wanted to talk about. It's like if you looked at that, last regular season game against Eastern versus this one, yeah, I know we had this weird thing which just brought the team back, but you could just feel the difference watching that game of like your team was right back where they were when they left off with Northwest.
Yeah.
Like Northwest, they played great as a team. You felt comfortable, like your pace was great, and that returned not a problem this last game, which is perfect because we need that going into the Region 9.
Yeah, there's no do-overs, like you're just not able to come back from a loss at this point in the year because your season's over. So, I think that our guys are pretty locked into that. And, and I've been watching a lot of – I love, like, conference tournaments in college basketball, and I think it's really cool that, my Hulu account's, like, hooked up to ESPN+, so, like, You can get, like, any game pretty much this time of year. And I've told our guys, like, I can't tell you how many times I've turned on like a semifinal and it's like the 12 seed from the regular season that's playing in the semifinal, or even last night there's a 12 seed Delaware playing in the final, and they lost by like 5 points, I think, like that. And it was a close game the entire way. So I just think like your record doesn't matter. What you did the first time you played them or the first 2 times you played, nothing matters, because it's playoff basketball. And you got to do everything in your control to win basketball games, because there's going to be certain things that probably don't go your way. There's probably going to be adversity that hits, in maybe every single game that you play, because you've kind of dwindled down, some teams already, and you got basically about the top half of the league playing, at one site. So we're excited, but I think we're pretty locked in.
Yeah, I know. I kind of stepped in to watch the practice the other day and was just like, at that point, it was kind of interesting because even for you, you're like, hey, you guys need to step away, kind of get your heads right.
Yeah.
And so I love that just even in practice, like, hey, you guys, this is a one-and-done season right now.
Right.
You've got to be locked in every second. Otherwise, it's going to be going home early.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been trying to, figure out more things just even personally, and I've realized, like, I look a lot at, like, the future because I'm always prepping for the future, and, like, our guys just really have to focus on what they can do, like, today to win the game in practice, hydrating, getting proper rest tonight, like getting up and getting fueled, getting a good stretch, and all those things are really going to be the determining factors, going into the game. And then we'll make the necessary adjustments in the game that we have to, so.
Right. Well, I guess that's a great segue into this next part about you're going to play Lamar, 1 o'clock tomorrow in Gillette. You've beat them once before, I think by 6. Break it down for us. What's going to go happen against Lamar? I know we've talked about them before, how they've improved. So what can we expect with this matchup?
Yeah, no, Lamar's a really good team. The South was so close. At one point Lamar was winning the South. At one point Western Nebraska was winning the South, and then eventually Trinidad ended up winning, and then I believe there was like a 3-way tie or close to it for second place. So like they're going through all the tiebreakers to figure out who's second, third, fourth. Like it's hard to tell that like you're not playing the number 1 seed because they're all so close. At least how they finished the conference season. So Lamar has definitely improved a lot since we played them. I think we've improved a lot too, but. They've also added a couple players who, weren't playing first semester that are pretty good players. Both of which started for them last year. One of them has started a little bit this year, but mostly they come off the bench. I don't think they wanted to really mess up too much rhythm. But they're scrappy. They can really score the basketball. And, it's I'm probably a broken record, but it's probably just what I believe in. It's really like going to come down to taking care of the basketball and rebounding and just having pride on defense and really getting good shot selection. But they're a scary team. They got a first team, all South sub-region kid on their team. They got another kid who averages they have 2 kids average 19 a game. Wow. They got 2 guys that average 3 makes from 3 a game, which again is like unheard of, especially at our level. I think probably the last time a team did that in our league was probably last year when Darius and Abdul did it, and so those teams are always hard to guard, because they can space the floor, but they also have some good guys that can break down people off the dribble. So we just got to take pride in those things and earn as many extra possessions as we can.
So you're both high-scoring offenses is kind of what I'm getting. So how do you make that little extra effort of saying, hey, who's going to make the first stop, who's going to make more stops?
Well, ironically, they run a lot of things in the half court. We can't scout them all. I think the biggest thing is consecutive stops and finishing plays. If there's a late clock play, which they probably won't get to very much, but when it is, like finishing those plays, contesting everything. When you got guys that can shoot, like your best contest could be the difference in winning and losing a game, because it could make a huge impact whether that shot goes in or not. And then I think just they don't get a ton of offensive rebounds, but when they do, they tend to get open looks. And we just got to really try to prevent as many easy shots that they can get. We're going to press, we're going to, even though they score a lot, like we think we can kind of trick them into taking some early shots, and they might make some, but I think pace-wise, like we've played at a really fast pace the entire year, and I feel really good just at the preparation that we've been putting in, in our conditioning since August, and so we just got to rebound out of those scenarios. But I think consecutive stops and contesting everything and make sure we secure rebounds is probably going to be our best bet defensively.
So what you've been talking about.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. We could have probably just played the same coaching show on loop. Like you could have taken my answers. And, like, you could have, just changed, like, Lamar.
Yeah, we could have just, recorded us just talking about whatever or dubbed over. Or saying, hey, defense, rebounds.
Defense. Go team.
Open looks.
Yeah.
Good shots. Good open looks, blah, blah, blah.
It's funny. It's not a complicated sport at all.
No.
It's not. Like coaches overcomplicate it a lot, and there's schemes maybe that can help here and there, but ultimately, like, you got to have more possessions than the other team.
Yeah, and then who's going to execute with those possessions?
Exactly.
Right? And so, that's what I think about too. It's like who's going to – I think about the women's team, and their style's a little different. Like their shooting percentage is maybe 40%, a little bit under lately. Yeah. But, they get so many extra shots that when you're shooting 39% from 70 opportunities, like, you're going to eventually win because you've got so many more opportunities.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's really cool to see, and the different playing styles. We're super excited. You got Lamar going to go up to Gillette. If you want to go, think it should be warm this weekend. I don't know.
I don't know what warm is. Is warm 30?
Warm, above freezing.
Above freezing.
Right now.
Warm above freezing.
So, 33 degrees.
Good to know.
Warm, I guess.
It's very relative.
Heat wave.
I think a lot of people
50.
would be freaking out if it was 30 degrees.
Probably.
In Florida, people would put on winter coats when it was like 60.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it makes sense, though, because it was like 90, the week before. And so it's like, that's a big change in temperature.
So I guess warm would be just no snow, decent roads.
Decent roads, no snow. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I hope so. But either way, if the roads are decent, we hope to see you in Gillette because, we want to support our team. Men's team should do a lot of good things. We're rooting for you, obviously. We want to see you win.
Yeah.
We like you.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. You plan for months and months and months and months, even during the recruiting process. Like you're planning last January for the following, March.
Right.
Right. And it's a really weird feeling to have cool. It's nice to, be 24-6 or whatever we are. And that's great. And, only lost one game at home. But ultimately, you almost feel like that doesn't even matter anymore, and that really everything that you've been doing in those last 30 or 31 games has been for this week, for 3 days, 72 hours, which is just kind of nuts to think about, the whole year coming down to 72 hours of basketball. But that's that's coaching, that's college basketball, that's the world we live in, and hopefully we can make the most of it,
Absolutely. Hopefully we can have you come back with a big old shiny plaque and, we can have some fun with it.
Yeah, we got some ideas if that happens.
All right. I like the vision.
Yeah.
All right. Well, T-Bird fans, they play in Gillette on Thursday, 1 o'clock. If you can't go in person, they do have a live stream that you can go to Gillette College's YouTube and watch that there. But until then, we will see you next time.